More from Harmy, who will tell us which ground is his favourite amongst the underrated, and then Jon Norman will take over from me.
Favourite of the underrated. It's an interesting one. I mean, I agree with you. The ones over here, so underrated. You mentioned that Napier here. I love this ground. This is beautiful ground.
Phillips continuing from the Port Hills end, and this clipped to mid-wicket and fielded 187 for 4. Did you pay much attention when you were playing, Harmy, or was it just rock up, get off the coach, walk to the dressing room, get your boots on, go and play, take 7 for 12,
a little bit like
go
that.
back to the dressing room, get in the coach, back to the hotel, touch more flight, misdirected down the leg side, clip to that fielder that's on the leg side, leg slip, leg gully, no run.
You missed the sleep bit out in the middle for a day and a half. Which ones had the good places you could hide in a corner and go to sleep as a fast bowler?
Well, which ones did?
Antigua was good.
Phillips, his runs here, fine. Misdirected from the bowler, and a chase on as well by O'Rourke, who probably doesn't really need that. Coming so soon after his over. 2 runs though, he's done a good job, 187 for 4. Pope 65, Brooks 62.
I don't think it was underrated, but one of my favourites, that's not a test ground now, has got to be, I know he got 400 and I didn't have the greatest experience there, but I mean the Antigua Rec ground, that for me that was unreal. Atmosphere on that was fantastic.
Phillips is in again and manages to bisect the field. There's a straight mid on and a wideish mid on, mid-wicket, short mid-wicket, and manages just to push the ball between the two and comes through for a single. That brings Brook back on strike. 190 for 4 if you're joining us here on talkSPORT 2 or via the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. The Rec, they say that you could smell the chicken. If you were down on the high street and down at St John's in Antigua, you could smell the chicken being cooked and it would entice you. Again, dragged down and down the leg side. Brook will feel like he's missed out here, pulling that to short fine. No run.
You could smell a few other things that were being smoked as well. Never mind being cooked.
I don't know what you mean. Phillips again. Brook just makes a little bit of room, backing away and pushing this ball, which is a good length to the fielder, a lone cover fielder. 1 run. I mean, you're such a well-travelled man, and you are very fortunate, Harmy. Spent a life travelling the world, playing cricket. You must have seen some sights along the way. Tell us, I mean, you toured India. What was the Taj Mahal like?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do it justice or any good with India tourist information. I mean, it's
okay. Well, we can move on. We can move on. You went to Sri Lanka.
I mean, it's a building in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? Taj Mahal is in the middle of nowhere. I was not so underwhelmed because I was so pleased I went, but it's one of them ones where you go 4.5 hours on a bumpy road. Feels a bit like what we experienced in this room yesterday. We're being seasick on a bumpy road. You get to the Taj Mahal and you look at it and you go, "Is that it?" And then we go home now, and it's 4.5 hours back with nothing in between.
Here is O'Rourke. This is dropped into the offside, as is Harry Brooks at way. Takes a single. Okay, well, you weren't impressed by the Taj Mahal.
No,
you toured Sri Lanka. You must have.
Sri Lanka was great.
Tell us about Sigiriya Rock in Dambulla. That must have been something else.
Went there. I don't
you didn't go to that
didn't
one.
play in Dambulla. We played in Kandy. We might have played in Dambulla. We played Kandy, Colombo and Gaul, I thought.
Okay, all right. So you didn't get on,
but
didn't get on the bus to go and journey to one of the natural wonders of the world, Uluru. Then you must have all your tours to Australia. I'm sure you would have booked in a trip to Uluru. Full and driven straight. It's a chase on for the mid-off fielder. It's Kane Williamson. Slowish outfield, and it's not timed beautifully, but enough for 3 runs. And the score moves on to 195 for 4.
Yeah, lovely shot down the ground from Ollie Pope. Using the pace. He's used the pace of Nathan Smith, Will O'Rourke. He really has used the pace of the bowlers, Matt Henry as well. very, very well to his advantage, just pushing it down the ground there. When they banged it in short or the ball back of a length, he's used the pace to get it down to third or over third through point. Really has been a good innings from Ollie Pope. But touring, John, I mean, you can say all these great places, but the majority of the time you're there for cricket, and you never really got a chance to go. And
a rook again on the pull is Brook, and there's another chase. Fielder Roshan Ravindra herring around from deep square leg, does well to claw the ball in, but more runs to the score. The applause go round. What about Zimbabwe then? You towards Zimbabwe?
I really enjoyed Zimbabwe. It was Zimbabwe before
Victoria Falls.
A lot of the troubles. No, we didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't. Swanee tells the story of that. There was 5 of them. Graham Swan, the physio Anne Brentnell, Vikram Solanki, 2 others. Matt Winders, I think, was one of them. They went up in a plane and basically got told by the pilot, "We ain't coming. We're not landing." I mean, I look at you with try and not look at you with a serious face here.
Here is O'Rourke, dab down into the offside. More runs here, just a single to backward point, fielded by Devon Conway.
Swanee got caught. They got caught in a.
What do you mean we're not landing? Why wouldn't you land? Why weren't they going to land?
I think the story is they came out of Vic Falls. They went, back to England, Harare, and then all of a sudden they got into the middle of a storm and going back to Africa, South Africa, go just literally try and find a way through and land. And the pilot basically told them at the back, this might not end well because of. And Swanee, I mean, it did. They managed to get through and on the ground. And Swanee come in and cuddled everybody, telling everybody he loved them when his feet were firmly back on the ground.
Here's Harry Brook, and tries to guide this ball past 4th slip, but unsuccessful on this occasion. No run.
So fortunately, I missed the Vic Falls trip. And
so who was on that plane? I mean, if you're going to go down,
Graham Swan, Vikram Solanki, definitely Anne Brentnell. I think there was 5 of them from the tour went. I want to say Matt Winders from Gloucester. There was somebody else. I can't remember who it was. But I mean, it sounded. It sounded horrendous. But Swanee tells the story in Swanee's fashion and Swanee's way. But I don't think he was the usual.
Last ball of William O'Rourke's over. And this is just tucked off Harry Brook's hip. He moves to 68, and that's a 200 up for England, a recovery. 71 for 4 when Ben Duckett was dismissed early on in the afternoon session. That coming after 2 wickets in the final over of the morning session. But since then, England have capitalised on a track which is easing. 2 drops as well. Brooks been put down twice. And the 200 now up. England trail by 148, still a lot of work to be done, but they're favourites. I noticed, I went on the CricViz app, and they were favourites some time ago.
Yeah, I can see why. It has flattened out. We are on a sort of a holding pattern where New Zealand are trying to sort of stem the tide with their spin, like what England did yesterday with Shoaib Bashir.
Phillips is going to continue from the Port Hills end, and this is another run off the hip of Brook. That Antigua test, by the way, do you know how long you were in the field for?
Forever. What felt forever? I think I slept for 2 days at the ground after that. I mean, I was fortunate in the dressing room, the away dressing room, there was a double bed in the dressing room and the corner, double mattress. And I think all 4 bowlers at one point we were sort of tucking each other in. We didn't have to tell each other a story. We were, I mean, what, 7.5 hours?
This is pushed by Pope, not that far short of Latham, I think it is, at straight mid-on. It's quite close to the stumps as well, bounced just short. You know, you were in the field for 13 hours and 59 minutes, and then you batted for 10 minutes. This is full, thrashed through the covers. Not going to get 4. Roshan Ravindra again doing good work, this time running from deep point to deep cover, but more runs added. Pressure being applied back on New Zealand. We were full of the joys of spring a couple of hours ago, but less so now.
I think we used 3 new bowls, John. I think we bowled in excess of 200 overs.
Well, Gary Morgan's saying you were in the field for 13 hours and 59 minutes, but you were banned from bowling. Didn't you get warned twice?
I got warned off, yeah. He still hasn't forgiven me yet.
Who, Fred?
Flintoff still hasn't forgiven me. And he says he never will.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.